For way too long, we have been paying everybody else's bills while essentially having us neglected in the process, right? We have been turning over 20, 30, 40, some people damn near 50% of our paychecks, or at least the profit that we make in a business or whatever it may be, and having that money flipped into everybody else's money. And that was the biggest problem with the Biden administration, along with a host of other things. But the simple fact that Americans were not being put first. It was not America getting America's money, but instead America getting crumbs of America's money and everybody else getting the lion's share of it. And so when I think about how people are now outraged that Trump is going to be pulling different monies out of that system, I think to myself, what do you think we are? Because, okay, even a charity, like any form of charity, is optional. There is nothing that is holding you to the fire of having to give to anybody or anything. And anybody who does try to force you or coerce you, whatever it is, that is dead ass wrong. And they're using manipulation in order to get some money up out of you. Simple as that. To give charitably is to give from your heart. So when we are giving foreign aid, there is no contract that says, hey, America is due for giving 80% of, foreign aid, international aid, whatever it is, international relief funds, whatever it may be. We are doing that from a place of, quote unquote, the goodness of our own heart. At least we should be. And for me, I view it as something that shouldn't even be taken care of at the scale that it is in the first place. There's no reason why we need to be giving $200 billion to a nation who is currently in a war that we're not involved in. At the same time, our own population is literally underwater. At the same time, our own population is literally in the midst of a fire. And they have to beg to get $700-800 into their pockets. That makes zero sense. And yet these far left radicals continue to go on, crying about, oh, how mean old DJT is. Oh, he's a fascist dictator. Oh, he doesn't care about brown people. Look, how about those nations who essentially we give money to continuously? How about they, embrace a free market capitalistic society? Maybe start there. How about they do all they can to start to improve their own nations? And this is coming from a man who was born in another country. I became a naturalized citizen through a process from the age of 10 to the age of 20. I went through that process. This is coming from me to say, instead of continuously having the money that we put into, because don't get that twisted. Anybody who likes to, point at me, oh, he's a tether, he can't talk about this, oh, he ain't really American. Well, actually, I'm as American as my taxes say I am. I'm as American as my contribution to that ecosystem have been for the better half of a decade plus, right? That's how American I am. So I would actually say that those leeching off the system aren't very American themselves, let alone those who are abroad who are adding absolutely nothing and yet getting this aid. I'm going to run this back one more time because I really hope this hit home. It is not mandatory. It is not our job. There is nowhere that it is written in the universal law that we are responsible to take care of everybody else's mess. In the same way, I'm not responsible for your mess, but I can choose to add to, the pool of the money you may be collecting to clean up your mess. I may choose to give money or, some sort of resources or whatever it may be in order to contribute to something that you see as a cause, but it is not my responsibility to do so. And people love to talk a whole lot of ish about America, in America and out of America. And I say this. This nation has been more generous than any other nation I have seen. When you hear about these NGOs, etc., whatever your thoughts may be on them, I know a lot can be corrupted, etc. There's some washing of money taking place. But nevertheless, when you hear about a lot of things that are going on internationally, like go into some of these more destitute countries, let's say in Africa, whatever it may be, go look at what the T-shirts read. Most of those T-shirts aren't in Mandarin. They're not in French. They're not in Yugoslavian, if that's even a thing, and Russian, whatever it may be. Those shirts are likely English. Those are, you have t-shirts like the football team that didn't win the Super Bowl, and they send a lot of those t-shirts over into other countries because they're already printing them up. Yeah, that's a form of charity. You're clothing people, you're sending food, relief, things of that nature. We have been extremely generous as a people, to the point of which it's like, oh, now it's your responsibility. It's like feeding a pigeon. When you feed it once, two, three times, oh, it's grateful. The fourth time, if you don't feed it, it'll start to peck at you. And now it's attacking you because how dare you not give me what I am due? And that's the problem I think we found ourselves in, is everybody became so reliant upon our money. The World Health Organization, NATO, this one, that one. Oh, yeah, America, come give your fair share, your lion's share. For what? What's the outcome? I'm a business guy. That's the world I know. My pops, all he knew was business. All I've known is business coming up. And so when I think about something, I think of it from investment, asset to liability. How is this thing actually helping? Okay, our taxes are an investment, folks. We're not giving our money to the government just because. And I hope Trump can really follow through with, at least not maybe in this term, but at least in the next one when Vance comes in as president, whoever it may be. I hope that we can actually get rid of the income tax. And if it's tariffs or whatever it is on other nations, if whatever it may be, that would help us to eradicate that, because it hasn't always been the fact. I used to think income tax is just a part of what no, that hasn't always been a thing historically. As a matter of fact, these guys right here, they said, hell no, to hell with the tax. We don't want to be taxed for nothing. Y'all ain't doing the damn thing besides trying to control us. So just imagine giving your money up. If they were alive today, they're tossing and turning in their graves right now. The founding fathers, they're like, what the hell is going on? Y'all gave how much? Y'all gave more money than they had in their entire coffers to a nation who has nothing to do with us. Nothing. The people in North Carolina are underwater. And what does Joe Carcass Biden do? He sends another $2 billion over to Ukraine. What's that about? How is that benefiting us? How is that not adding to a war that we claim to want to see over? And so that's really my biggest thing, right? Is when I see the hypocrisy in the left, but then I also see the idiocracy in the left, where it's your country you're living in, you're benefiting from. So you would like to sabotage the one who is actually doing something for this country first. The America First proposal offends you. First they were offended by the American flag. I remember they were burning that. And I'm like, okay, so you hate this country, but why are you still living here? Foreigners wonder that all the time. People came from outside and become ingrained in the American way of life and probably already had those. No, we already had those aspects within ourselves. That's why we come to a place like this, because we believe in the liberties and the freedoms. We believe that this nation is a beautiful nation that has given opportunity upon opportunity, chance after chance. Is it perfect? No, no nation is, but it's likely the best. That's why people continue to try to break into the country. It's a God honest truth. You don't see people lining up around South Korea. You don't see people lining up around, I don't know, Venezuela, Cuba. You don't see lines of people waiting to get into those places. You see them getting the hell up out of those places. So these so-called communists, okay, if you're a real life socialist, you need to go not just visit a socialistic country. That used to be my thing. I said, I'll be willing to do like an exchange program where we trade, somebody who would edify the American ecosystem with one of these so-called socialists, North Korea, whatever it is. So we'll send you there. You can come here and you can tell us how that's going for you. You can tell us how that is going for you. That would be a perfect exchange program for the short term. But now in the long term, I say to hell with it. Just go live there. Get yourself settled in one of those nations and see how it truly is. The America hate is incredible, folks. It really is. And I know that there were certain parts of my youth when I bought into that propaganda and I was into, the black identity thing, etc. And I was kind of fixated on that. Man, America is unfair. It's built on slavery, it's a land built on violence, etc. First and foremost, name me a country that was not built on the backbone of servitude, slaves, and violence. Name me a country that didn't start off that way, because you even say it was built upon that. That's not necessarily the case. It wasn't built on that, but you can say that there is a foundation of it, or there are There was a war that likely led to land being captured. And then once that land was captured, if it became a nation such as the United States, there were those who said, you know what, we can't continue to move in this way. And so there was a justified war for freedoms. It wasn't just the captors, like the Thomas Jeffersons of the world, the John Adams of the world, the Benjamin Franklins, the founder fathers, the George Washingtons. I know y'all hate the names, all they're so racist, whatever, right? Some of these guys were actually abolitionists as early as 1776 and even before. But the Democrats, of course, had, their hands in a pot, and they were deeply afraid of losing, what they believed they had, in essence, their economy, which is built on people, just like ancient Rome, just like ancient Egypt, just like, I'm sure, the Mesopotamians, the Sumerians. You go throughout time and you will see that there's always been slavery. So to say that, it's the United States and therefore we are indebted to the world because this place was built on violence and reparations and all these sorts of conversations, I would say, okay, then you need to go into global history. If you're really trying to get your reparations, you need to make sure to go to your ancestors' captors, right? The ones who had a thriving slave trade on that western coast of Africa. I would highly suggest going to those individuals who sold you into it. Who is worse, the user or the distributor? If one person is going to pay, then another person is going to pay as well. Simple. So yeah, when it comes to this thing of the scaling back of foreign aid is actually one of my favorite things to see, because it's the easiest way to save money in useless places. There was money, like how much was it? Like 50 or 41 million or something that went to diversity programs in Burma. I just figured out what Burma was today in an earlier video I was recording. What the hell is a Burma? Shout out to my people from Burma. You know what I mean? I don't know how many of y'all there are. I don't know what type of diversity y'all needed, but the U.S. government under Bidenomics was giving 50 or 40 million or whatever it is dollars to diversity for y'all. And yet the folks down in North Carolina got $700 each. That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't seem fair. I believe a government's position, a government's job is to take care of its citizenry. Is that so much to ask?
I used to be afraid of the dark, place unknown like a heart in their heart. I used to see my life in the bar. Now the kids unchained, every shackle is lost. 2 steps in the moonlight, 2 step in the daytime. You just know when it feel right. You got a feeling the time's night. See you through those shades that I just threw on. Through my lenses, you just can't do no wrong. I fell in love with myself again. I fell in love with myself. I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 3-6-5, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up.